Gavin McKenna isn't the fastest player on the ice, neither is Patrick Kane. But there's one thing these two players do better than anyone else I've ever watched, and it's the reason they win one-on-ones and create offense over and over, while faster players get shut down. So many players at the AA, AAA, or junior level need to generate more offense in order to get noticed by scouts. But the higher levels you go, the harder it is to find space. So you need to learn this strategy now, so at better levels, you already have experience using it. This isn't about skating harder or shooting faster. It's about the thing that coaches keep telling you to do. Make better decisions, play patient, without ever telling you actually how to do it. By the end of this video, you will know exactly when to use this strategy that McKenna and Patrick Kane use. You'll create more chances and you'll stop panicking the second the puck touches your stick. Watching a lot of Gavin McKenna highlights, I noticed that a lot of his chances come from changing speeds. Now, ordinarily, that's not too fancy of a idea or an observation, but the when he does the speed change is the key thing that I want to teach you guys today. And it's the same when that Patrick Kane uses when he is analyzing a situation. Okay, so Gavin McKenna looks at this situation and he sees that the defender is matching speed. He knows that if he slows down at any point in this rush down the boards, it is going to throw off the gap control of this defender. His angling will be thrown off, and then he is able to find better lanes. Now, in this case, the defender makes a choice. The defender decides to step up, which allows McKenna to make the move by. A lot of times, what you'll notice when you slow down, it will change all of the defender's angling of that situation. And so the passing lanes that they were in originally, they're no longer in, or they have to adjust to stay in. And so it can be, speed changes specifically, can be a tool that unlocks new passing lanes. It can be something that also unlocks better types of one-on-ones. And we'll go through here. This is more of a situation for the neutral zone. And so Gavin McKenna actually skates laterally, which creates a completely new gap and angling setup for this defender. If you look at how he was skating before, he was trying to skate this way to shut down that space and have these guys trap McKenna over there. But because McKenna goes against the grain and uses this kind of a speed change here, he messes up that defender's angling. And then it kind of compounds once he gets through. Watch this defender right here, how he has to slow down and wait for Gavin McKenna. And we see this time and time again. In this situation, right, there is a ton of space and these defenders are preparing to angle him and trap him or shut this area down. But because McKenna slows down and he starts threatening things, they all get kind of bunched up. And after he passes it, you can see there are a lot of open options that he creates. And so the way I want you guys to think about a speed change is if you look at a situation and you see it and it's maybe okay or it's average or there's nothing glamorous about it, that is when you use a speed change. And if you think of it the right way, it's sort of like where you grab the situation, you shake it around and you disrupt everything. You break all the defenders free of what they were covering and how they're angling you. And so it's kind of like a shakeup, right? Think of a speed change as like a shakeup. But the other key thing is that when you use that shakeup, that speed change as like a shaking up of the situation to mess up the gaps and the angles of your opponents, you have to be ready for how they react to you. Sometimes when you shake up the situation, the defenders will give you a bunch of space. You have to know how to attack that, how to take advantage of that. And also, when you use a speed change and you jostle that situation, you break free of all those angling, the defenders could also step up on you, which presents a good one-on-one opportunity. And so that's really the thing you have to practice is when to use the jostle, when to break up that situation, when to disrupt and reset the situation, and then what to react against, what to look for once the defenders actually make a choice, whether they go aggressive or back up. And so you can see the same thing that Patrick Kane does over and over again, right? He gets this puck coming down the boards. Okay, there is definitely some options, but there are also like a lot of good options right behind this situation. And so Patrick Kane decides to slow down and jostle the situation, break free, and he's able to, honestly, he doesn't really improve the situation. It's more of a different look, and eventually he walks in and snipes it I think 5-hole there. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, what's the signal to know when and where to use a speed change? It's when the defender is angling you well and they're gapping up well, and when multiple defenders are closing in on you, but not right as they're closing in on you. When you look into the future and you say 4 or 5 strides from now, they will be trapping me in limited amount of space. You want to try to hit them with the speed change early on, as early as possible, to give yourself more room to escape later. And then what does that speed change create? It creates a new set of lanes and options for your teammates, for you to pass to, for you to look for. And so it's almost like you break free, you reset the situation, you kind of shake it, and a lot of new options will result from that. And so there is a difference between slowing down because you want to reset the situation and slowing down because you don't know where to go, right? A lot of players, they slow down to think, they slow down to watch, but from now on, what you guys want to look at is you want to attack aggressively, and then after you attack aggressively, if you slow down then, you initiated the defenders on that initial speed, that initial route that you aggressively skated against, and so you automatically get some amount of almost like escape space afterwards. And so that is the difference between skating fast or using a real speed change on purpose and then just skating slow, right? Some people just skate slow, so I can't really skate slow, I can't use speed changes because they don't work for me. Well, that's because you're not attacking and being aggressive first to get those defenders on that initial defensive footing, let's say. Another key valuable thing from a speed change is when you hit them with a speed change, it often takes away their aggression, right? So let's find a good example of that here. All right, you can sort of see McKenna skating slow, and I wouldn't say slow, but he's skating kind of laterally, and defenders are all basically like backing up and very cautious because they don't know how to play somebody who's not skating fast and not clearly going a certain direction. This is kind of another example of how defenders will skate sort of aggressively at you, but they'll also be kind of passive, right? Because when you slow down or skate in different directions, lateral movement, east-west type things, they don't have these kind of pre-programmed routes to defend you in, and so they have to actually defend, by making decisions. And when they're making decisions, they have to make mistakes. And so that's what speed changes could do. They make defenders into less aggressive people sometimes, or it can be very aggressive, but they'll be aggressive in a way that's like very vulnerable, right? So it's either they'll be passive and kind of back up, giving you space, or they'll be aggressive but vulnerable, kind of like this example here in the corner where Gavin McKenna makes this move around the defender. Patrick Kane does the same exact thing constantly.
Last chance.
Whenever he gets the puck, he looks at opponents, and if they're matching speed with him, he slows down. And in this situation, when he slows down and glides, this defender starts becoming very aggressive towards him, and Patrick Kane sees that as an opportunity to actually draw him out of position, and he draws multiple defenders and finds an open teammate. So here's the cue, right? Patrick Kane against matching defenders, defenders matching speed, and so he attacks as much as he can, then he slows down and starts skating laterally, and that creates passive defenders, and then he finds an open teammate. So a speed change doesn't always have to be you create the one-on-one and you magically score an amazing goal after it. Sometimes you slow down and you get a defender to be aggressive against you, and then you get by them with a pass. That's sort of what happens in this example too. So speed changes are a part of a bigger system that I teach clients at the NHL, AHL, pro levels in Europe and in North America. Junior, college, AAA, AA, single A, and really every level that I haven't listed, prep school, high school, things like that. These are things that I teach speed changes. You can see right now on the screen, there's a bunch of testimonial interviews that you're seeing. If you go to my website, Conscious Hockey, you can watch those if you click on the success story tab. Tons of players we've already worked with, helping them install this speed change strategy into their game, along with other things. Now, what we talked about today is only a small piece of the bigger system. If you want help installing everything, you can use the link below, go to my website, look around, learn more, or you can book a call directly with my team and we can talk you through some options, ask you questions. There's a lengthy application process where we really see if we can help you before we determine if we should even work with you. So that is the process. You can book a call with my team, or you can look on my website, conscioushockey.com, and learn more about what we have to offer and what we do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.